turn the volume up and sit down because today we're talking about 4 signs why you may not be making money or demands as a musician. Ooh, I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a while, and I also love that today we're going to be talking a little more about mindset than we ever did on this channel. This is my 6th video. We're in the 2nd month of creating weekly videos for you so you can create a rich music career. I'm your music career bestie, founder of a solo music brand. I teach other musicians how to operate their music brand as a business so they can sign 5 to 6 figures
gigs
and again create the rich, fulfilling music career that you have envisioned all along. So for the past few years, I've been connecting with other musicians like myself online and in person and talk about these conversations that I'm now bringing all to my channel. First reason why musicians may not make money or demand in the music industry is the fear of losing opportunities. We are scared to make demands because at the end of the day, we have this fear that doing so could result in us getting less gigs. Now let's let that settle. Mind believes that if we were to make demands or ask things such as like fair compensation, basic human rights, we're gonna get less of those things. But if you think about this, let's reverse engineer this. If people are offering less than what you want, don't work with them. Don't work with them. This is a good thing because if you do lose opportunities where they're constantly offering you below what you're worth, then you definitely want to get less of those leads, because the first sign here is that these people, the less people, they're not your ideal client, they're not your ideal audience, they're not your folks or the circle that you want to immerse yourself in. And lose those opportunities, and I guarantee you there's so many different types of client, audience who are eager and delighted to compensate you for your rate, your time, and how you see it fit. So find these clients and start losing these. So, alright, the second sign why you are not making money or demand as a musician is that you think you lack bargaining power. Particularly if you are new in the industry, maybe in a different genre. Maybe you were a musician, you've been a musician all along, but you were just crossing over to another instrument. Maybe you were part-time, maybe you were a hobbyist and you're going and signing different gigs at this point. Whatever the case is, you're kind of desperate to just get your foot at the door. In any case, you should still advocate for yourself and your rate, your time, and your inspiration, because nobody else will, and it is your job to maintain your own inspiration and passion that will drive your music to your audience. Because if we start to lose that and we get depleted, then we are not being fair to ourselves. And here's another side of this bargaining power dilemma that I want you to think about. Say you are new, say you don't really know, you don't have the experience, or maybe you're young, you're just out of school, and maybe you were just stepping into the gig world. Guess what? Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that except you. So if you can stop believing all these negative things, just less things about yourself, then maybe you can position yourself better. And it's okay to have conversations, even if they may not like your idea or they may not agree with everything that you offer. Because again, this isn't necessarily for them, this is for you. So remember this. Alright, moving along. Third sign why you may not be making money or demands as a musician, and it is lack of confidence. The good news is that as musicians, we are good at practicing, right? I mean, we should be good at practicing by now. Musicians lack confidence to make demands. This particular skill, the negotiating and asserting yourself as a solo brand, letting people know your needs to be able to come to a conclusion to work together when all that sauce is developing, We're not talking about you practicing so much on the skills that you're really good at right now as a musician. If you are having trouble making the type of income that you need to support your own life, then it's time that you stop practicing so much in the practice room. Maybe start practicing some time into developing some of the necessary skills to grow as a music entrepreneur. You decided to go this route and chose this path because you wanted freedom. You wanted to create your own schedule and what you do and where you do it, doing exactly what you love to do, and you're so damn good at it. So please get better at the skills that you need in order to get to the place you need to get to and the income that you need to get to. And it's not all in practice rooms. In fact, I want to share one thing. I had a teacher during my undergrad year, and he is like, honestly, he was my god. I was completely infatuated with him. He is the principal of NSO, National Symphony Orchestra. To this day, I believe my affinity for modern contemporary style of playing comes from him. So during this time, I had just switched from one studio to another studio, and I had done very poorly. Academically, I flunked my first year in college. I was put on academic probation. We'll do another video about this. I was transitioning as a junior. I needed to retain my scholarships. I'd go back home and live with my parents because I'd not lived with my parents since 9th grade because they lost custody of me. So I went to college after graduating high school with my foster parents. Okay, during this time I was practicing so much. I was waking up like 6 a.m. I was having 7 a.m. lessons. I was inspired and desperately wanting to improve. So I was practicing about 4 to 7 hours every day. During my lessons, she sat me down, goes, "Journey, how much are you practicing?" And I was like so proud. I was like, "Oh, I'm practicing like 5 to 7 hours every day." And he was not impressed. In fact, this is what he said. "Are you insane? You shouldn't be practicing more than 2 hours." And then I thought this was about, oh yeah, like I'm so smart, I didn't study for this test, but I'm good. But it wasn't. I'm starting to finally learn in my own life and in my own teaching studio that if you're practicing more than 2 hours a day, but you're practicing consistently, then there's something else you're missing. As an entrepreneur, music teacher, and performer, and a business owner, I have probably 2 hours set for myself to practice, and I don't go outside of that. When I'm practicing, I try to get all my content, because if I'm spending more than 2 hours every day, I'm not getting around to taking care of my body, my mind, and my dog, my kids, my family, and I actually have to perform and teach, so that would take away a lot of time from me. Don't spend all your time practicing as a music entrepreneur in practice rooms because they happen in different places outside of practice. The last time we're going to be talking about today, cultural norms. I relate to this a lot. I'm a first-gen American. I immigrated to America in 1999. But I was born and raised, and I finished my elementary school I finished through 5th grade in Korea. So I came to America not knowing any English. However, I also didn't grow up with a typical Asian upbringing, if you will, because I had stepdad and Caucasian family. All my extended family were white. So I lived with my foster parents who were white and Jamaican Chinese. So I have so much diversity that it wasn't as challenging for me to practice stepping outside of my comfort zone when it comes to different cultures and their expectations. I'm used to managing these expectations and norms. I do notice that because this industry is also filled with lots of talented players from all over the globe, even if you may reside in America or Canada, I see a lot of this cultural tendencies. And as women, if you are especially a women artist or performer, don't be afraid to take up space in this industry. In fact, we should be taking up extra space because some of the members of our sisterhood aren't taking up as much space as they should. And I think this is due to the cultural norms that we sometimes feel like making demands and negotiating as a whatever ethnic background you are or whatever gender you identify yourself with it's not the norm, and they may feel uncomfortable, a sense of shame or embarrassment. But again, don't forget, this is the music industry, okay? It is cutthroat, my friend. So practice these skills and break away from the cultural norms and expectations, especially the passive-aggressive communicative style that will not help you get anywhere in this industry. So that's it. Let's wrap up. We talked about 4 signs why you may not be making money as a musician in this industry. I think by now you are starting to recognize that we also need to practice our mindset and the way we think. And we highly recommend reading one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's books. And it's all about changing the way you think and actually changing the biochemistry of your brains. And thinking different thoughts will give you different results in reality, especially music career. So thank you so much for watching this video. Next Friday, we will be talking about different ways to respond to inquiries. As a founder of a music brand, I get a ton of different inquiries asking me to do various different performance styles, events, parties, and I don't like to get things complicated because I want to just be able to take in as many leads as possible. We'll be talking about how to respond to some of these inquiries, and I'll help you go through some of the conversations that I have. That way you feel comfortable learning exactly what type of communication style is necessary to 1, hook your clients, 2, keep the conversation going, 3, end up booking their clients upon receiving deposit. So thank you and hope you have a wonderful weekend.